Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope that where you are, it's in the morning. I'm sitting all right. I hope that where you are, it's in the morning. I will quickly just take this time to invite those of you that follow us on Facebook to join me this morning. For me, it's in the morning. I hope you had a wonderful night. And I hope all is well where you are. Uh, I'm right here coming to you from the African Institute of Leadership and Governors in South Africa. And we wish to invite each one of you, those of you that love this continent passionately. I believe that Africa must be governed well. And in order for us to govern our continent well, we need to educate ourselves. So I've got 2 minutes before, I've got in fact a minute before I go straight into the lesson. So let me do this thing quickly. All right. So let me know where you are catching me from. Let me know where you are watching from. Usually I come this time so you can start the day with great insights. Training is very vital, guys. Training is very important, and so we cannot undermine it by whatsoever. So I wish to congratulate those of you that have participated in different programs that we have been running. And next week I will not be so much active on social media because I have to attend to administrative issues that can help us to better the institute as well. So next week I've got just maybe the evening interviews and discussions with different speakers from different entities. So please feel free to join us in the evenings when we share important information. So please feel free to come on board. To come on board. Oh, I've got somebody's phoning me when I'm in class. Okay, I'm gonna call them later on. So this is very important. We will talk to them later. We are in class now. So, ladies and gentlemen, join me every evening on Tuesdays and Thursdays when we share important information from the African Institute of Leadership and Governance. I believe that you are working at a verge of training, and in which we are going to discuss with you. We are going to look at a number of things. I'll be very quick. I've got just about 15 minutes and I'll be out of your way, maybe even less. So I hope you have enjoyed all our discussions that we have been bringing, and I hope that you are being equipped and empowered. I hope that you're being equipped and empowered. Whenever we come like this in the morning and we discuss all these things, please feel free to communicate back and give us your feedback. Give us your feedback. Feedback is very important. Give us your feedback so we can know how are these sessions helping you, and how can we improve on these sessions. So that is very important to us and to my team. So tomorrow is Friday. We are having our leadership meeting. Friday we have leadership meetings, and so I hope that you can be able to appreciate what we are doing. I hope you can be able to appreciate what we are doing as we prepare ourselves to get to the new week. So, guys, don't be under pressure so much, more especially these days, because when we deal with leadership, we must know it's the greatest vacuum which we have. So, welcome to those of you that are joining me and are joining us on this very, very, very platform. Welcome, welcome, and thank you for those that have been working with us, those that have been helping us, those that desire to see that this whole thing becomes a tool and helps people out there. So thank you very much one more time. Allow me to thank my leaders. Allow me to thank them. Okay, I'm done with the sharing. Okay, let's look at the discussion of today. Let's look at these discussions. Ali, let's go. I want us to look at the process of developing leaders, and I will quickly highlight a few things. The process of training leaders and raising leaders. As an organization, you must always be in constant training of your leaders. You must always be in constant training of your leaders, be it management, be it senior management or middle management, or just any level of leadership. There must always be a training of leaders, because the greatest vacuum that we have is a leadership vacuum, be it in the civic society and in the commercial or in the corporate. The greatest vacuum that we always have is leadership. So I want us to look at the process. The process begins with the mentor doing the task while the mentee watches. The mentor, so you must have a mentorship program. Now, you know, these programs these days, we have seen, like, when people speak about mentorship, we are thinking of motivational speakers. That's not what we talk about, and that's not what mentorship is. Okay, mentorship is carrying people on the journey. Mentorship is carrying people on the journey, making sure that the people that are working with you are part of the journey that you have taken, making sure that the people that are working with you are part of the journey that you have taken. That's what we call mentorship. So you identify, or first you recruit. Okay, you identify or you recruit the people. They come into your system and they come into your program. And once they have come into your program, they have come into your system, realize that at that particular time, you are able to work around with different people. You are able to work around with different people. So the process begins with you now, the CEO or the leader, becoming a mentor. So how do you become a mentor? You begin to share first your vision to your people. Then sometimes you can do this thing without them knowing. You can be doing this thing without them knowing. So what we do is you get yourself the first model, which we have to look at. The first step is the process begins with the mentor doing the task while the mentee watches. Okay, do as you watch. Okay, that's what we call do as you watch. Be sure to give the mentee the opportunity to see the whole process, you know. Uh, Too often mentors begins in the middle of the task and confuse the mentee. All right. When the mentee sees the task performed correctly and completely, it demonstrates the process of in or the process to imitate. Now, what does that mean? You have a project or a program where when you are doing it, they are watching. Give them a time to see you start from the scratch, building it up to a certain level. Okay, we call it watch as I do. Okay, watch as I do. So you are on this project, you're on this task, and they should be watching. They should be watching. Watch as I do. Sometimes you don't have to speak. I am quite very good at learning by observation. It's one of the things that I've learned. It's one of my strengths. I learn by observation. So give them the time to observe you as you do. Step number two, step number two. So the first one is model. Okay. Step number one is model, meaning be a model. Then model, yeah, model or model. Be a model. Let the people be able to see you do things. Let them see you coming up. Indicate where, if you're watching on Facebook, you can also tell me where you are and what's your name or where you're watching. Okay. So make sure that you have a model. So see me as I do. That's the first thing. Okay. Then the second step number two is mentor. Okay. The first one they were observing. The second one is mentor. What is to mentor? Okay. Mentor is the second step. During this step, the mentor will continue to perform the task, but this time the mentee comes along. Let's do it together. The mentee comes along. So you give them opportunity to learn as they make mistakes. You give them opportunity to learn as they as they make mistakes. Okay. So they're making mistakes when they are with you. And assists in the process. Take time to explain not only the how, but also the why of each step. There should be lots of communication beginning at this stage. So at this particular time, you have to make sure you see to it that you are working with a team of people and you bring all these people along so they can watch you make mistakes. Carry them along. For example, I like what our Indian friends, those of an Asian descent, what they do when they are business people and they want to develop their children to take over their business. They don't start when they see now their strength is finishing and they're about to die. That's the problem we have, we Africans. As Africans, we are even jealousy of sharing knowledge to our own children. As Africans, how many of you will tell me honestly that your father was a miner and you had the time to sit down with your father to teach you mining? Very few. All what our fathers knows what to do, what they knew to do, was to give us instruction. And our parents were very good at instructions. They would tell you, hey, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. They were a headmaster in the home. But a mentor carries you along, works with you. So the first step is be a model. Be a model or a model. Meaning you are giving them opportunity to watch you. You are giving them opportunity to see you. The second one, give your team opportunity to work with you. Give opportunity your team to work with you. Find some time to work with each one of them. Find some time to work with each one of them so you can share with them your weaknesses. They can also see where you make mistakes. They will learn and they will know also where they can improve. So these are the steps on developing leaders. And I'm saying to us that I'm giving you, these are the processes that a leader must go through. The process that prepares great leadership. Okay, save. I've always given examples of those of you who are in South Africa. there is this organization that we have always been talking about, and I concentrate on that, the African National Congress. If you look at the African National Congress as a political party, if you look at their presidents and how people get into their structures and become president, you will see a lot of them having a history to have saved the previous leadership. You will see a history of saving a previous leadership. And this is where we need to learn. Let us be there to save. Let us be there to serve. Save, 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 save. Okay? But as you are serving, you are also looking at examples and mistakes that others have made. I can give you an example. Thabo Mbeki saved Walter Sisulu. Govan Mbeki was his biological father. Nelson Mandela. He saved under them, and he was able to become president. Okay. Nelson Mandela served under Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, and them. And so he was able to become president and lead with a covering because he was able to see. Who was after Thabo Mbeki? Jacob Zuma. Jacob Zuma, you will notice that he served under Madiba, he served under Thabo Mbeki, and we see Jacob Zuma becoming president. Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, the same thing. We see him serving Mandela, serving Mbeki, and we see him now coming serving President Zuma, and he becomes president. Now, when you look at the time that these people have served, it's not 1 week. It's not 2 weeks. They serve and they work together. They serve and they work together. So make sure the process is being timely. The process gives opportunity. Look at the Indian community when they do business. They start from small. On a weekend, they take their children to the shop. The children are watching their father trading. The children are watching their father, how they handle customers and clientele. The children, they watch how their father moves things. And after, by the end of the day, we discover that their parents, by the time they die, the son already knows what to do with the business. The son already knows what to do with the business. What about us in Africa? Hey, Moon. Our father starts business by going to Sangoma, and they don't tell you, they go at night. Leadership, they do it by night. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So they don't have anything to leave you with. I'm going to cruise now. Okay, I'm on step number 3. Monitor. Okay. The first one, I said model. The second one, I said mentor. The third one, monitor. What is monitor? To monitor, let's go ahead. At this point, the mentor and the mentee exchange places. The mentor and the mentee exchange places. Today, he operates as the boss. Tomorrow, he's not there. Okay? Is another one. The mentee performs the task and the mentor will assist. The mentee performs the task and the mentor will assist. So at this time, you step back, you leave the chair. And when you leave the chair, you give him the time and you start next. You don't leave them completely, you understand? So people wait to retire, and when they retire, nobody is there to take over. Look at why Africa has failed to develop right now. The reason why Africa has failed to develop is because I have said this. Maybe I need to repeat it again one of the days. We have developed what we call, our leaders are what we call accidental leadership. What we call accidental leadership. Leaders who aspired to become on the top never saved anybody. So I said number 1, model. Number 2, mentor. Number 3, monitor. So to monitor, you're exchanging places. Today, he acts as the boss. It is especially important during this phase to be positive. To be positive. And encouraging the mentee, giving encouragement to the mentee every time. So be positive, and even when they are making mistakes, say, okay, you can do well. Okay, you are trying. Okay, you can push this. Okay, change that and do this, It's the same thing. Mechanics. I've got my friend, if he's watching me, Mr. David Ngoma from Lusaka. He's a mechanic. And I can tell you, he's got a son who's 14 years. His son is 14 years old. And his son knows how to fix vehicles now. It's just a strength that he doesn't have, but his son knows how to fix vehicles now. How does he know how to fix vehicles? It's because his father gives him opportunity. When he knocks off from school, his father comes on and picks him and sits with him in the workshop. And when he gets him to the workshop, the quick thing that happens is that he shares with him, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do. Okay, so, and then when the child is making mistake, the father is there to give him positive energy. So leadership is all about energy, the energy to lead. You must be given that energy to lead, and at some point you will be able to make mistakes. And once you are making mistakes, remember, when mistakes are being made, there is always, and I mean always, time to cry, time to break, time to be shouted at. So as a leader, don't just be so soft sometimes. Sometimes come up with a strong arm in order to mentor people. Come up sometimes with a strong arm. Sometimes shout. Sometimes scream. Sometimes that's leadership. As you scream at them, they'll know that this is a very serious thing. But if you are correcting them and say, you know what? I know it's going to be fine. I know it's a mistake. Don't worry. No, there must be, if it's at work, make sure this is business. They must know this is leadership. You're not training them to make mistakes. You're training them to perfect the process and the system. So they must know that this is a very serious thing. So be there. Okay. So I said model, monitor. I said model, mentor, monitor. Step number four, a quick one, motivate. Step number 4, motivate. These are the steps that I'm talking about today, and I'll be done in the next few minutes. Motivate. At this point, the mentor will step out. Okay, the mentor steps out of the task and relinquishes the responsibility to the mentee. I remember 4 years ago, and I'm still struggling at the same point. 4 years ago, some years ago, in fact, leading the church from for the past, I think, 14 years or something like that. But I'm saying about from 4 years ago, I began to surrender, and I gave this thing to the leaders and the eldership. And I said to the leaders and the elders, run the thing, man. And I go. And I left, I start doing my politics, doing my leadership training, the thing. If it crashes on them, it's them. But I am there to give them motivation, because you must develop confidence to your leadership team to say they can do it. So motivate. Listen, guys, whether we like it or not, one day you will be irrelevant. Let me tone down. I'm shouting. Somebody's telling me I'm shouting. Yes, I'm shouting. You think I'm not shouting? I'm shouting because I want it to sink in here, because our leaders don't listen. Our leaders don't understand what we are talking about. So in motivating your team, in motivating your group, in motivating your people, this has to happen. What has to happen? Listen, you must know that at one point or the other, you will become irrelevant. You will become irrelevant. There are points that I've failed, Mr. Muntali, welcome. There are points that I have failed. I am irrelevant. I am irrelevant. In this thing, I am irrelevant. There are places where you have to become irrelevant. How do you become irrelevant? Sometimes you may become irrelevant naturally. Okay. You have offered all what you can, and you are irrelevant. As a leader, there is a point where, but how does a leader become irrelevant? Not becoming irrelevant because you are useless. No. A leader does not become irrelevant because he's useless. A leader becomes irrelevant because there is no need. You have trained so many people who can do the same thing that you are doing. They can do the same thing and you can achieve the same results. So at that particular point, you can relinquish power and step aside. So in motivating, you have to understand that. The second thing, don't do business or don't run your organization as if you will never exit. There is what we call retirement, where definitely you will exit one day. You have to retire. You cannot continue to work even when you're 70 years old. No. You will have to retire. At some point, you will have to die. Oh, yes. Sometimes you will have to die by either way, in any way, you have to die. When you die, we have seen that most of the organizations, when the founder, when the CEO dies, the organization begins to die. Why? This process was not being followed. There was no modeling, there was no mentoring, there was no monitoring, there was no motivating. So motivate your people. Motivate them to do what you can do. So prepare them, right? This is applied leadership. So prepare them, motivate them, speak to them. Now, hey, those of you who are watching from Zambia, I'm looking for Mr. What's the name of that man? I think he's is it Kalumba or Mr. Kalumba or something like that. He was the permanent secretary, the immediate past permanent secretary of Ministry of Education. I think it's Mr. Kalumba. I'm looking for him. We want to have him on this program. He's the only one that I saw on the permanent secretaries to do a farewell for his release. He did a farewell after he was recalled, or when they fired him or they sacked him or recalled. There was a farewell. Why? That guy, he's a doctor, and I listened to him. He has got a passion for Africa. And one most important thing, what I picked up, is that the desire for him to practice leadership was stronger than in the position that where he was. Step number 5, and we finish. Multiply. Multiply. Step number 5, multiply. Okay. Step number 5. So I've given you 5 steps this morning. I've said number 1, model. Number 2, monitor, mentor, monitor, motivate, and multiply. Multiply. What does that mean? Once the mentee does the job well, the next step is for the mentee to become a mentor. It's for the mentee to become a mentor. Every one of you must be training somebody in the area of your expertise. Listen, guys, may I reiterate the call that I've always given. 90% of people with PhDs in this world are Africans, Black people. And yet, we, the African people, are the least educated. That's what I'm saying. We have got more people with PhDs, and yet the levels of primitivity, guys, the levels of primitivity, being uncivilized, being poverty-stricken, being in whatever terms you can call it, is found in Africa. Why? When an African knows something, they hide it. It is a shame that people hide information and they go to the grave with information. I am done. I challenge you today, those of you who came into this class, whatever level of leadership, how can you be, the mother is a chef and the daughter cannot cook? In Africa, that is found. The father is a pilot. The daughter or the son has never jumped in a plane. How can we develop when our leaders are so selfish with the knowledge and the information? Now, let me give an example of those that are watching me from Zambia, my beloved country. Listen, when did God plant gold in Zambia? Gold. We have got gold in Zambia. When did God plant it? Is it 3 years ago? Is it 5 years ago? God put that gold, the minerals, gold, in Zambia since the foundation. Are you telling me the geologists never knew that? They knew. Are you telling me that our first president, second president, third president, fourth president, they never knew that? They knew. Why did they tell the Zambian people that there is gold everywhere? The reason why these things are not shared to us, it's because the process is not followed. So I want to go back and, hey, I see my big brother watching, Mr. Nkoma. Thank you. Welcome, sir. Let me give the process again as I begin to close. The first one is model, okay? Model. Remember to be a model. Let them watch as you do. The second one is mentor. Work with them. Give each other opportunities to make mistakes. When they are making mistakes, they are making mistakes, and you are standing by to give correction. I said in leadership, when they are making mistakes, don't always be don't be always, what we call this thing. Don't always be this leader who practices what we call a laissez-faire type of leadership. Don't always be relaxed, but be sometimes firm. Be sometimes firm. Make sure that you are firm. Hey, my Bishop Moses, when am I coming to preach? You know, I miss your church. God bless you, sir. So what am I saying? Make sure that you allow them to make mistakes. Make sure you are standing next to them. Make sure you are with them. Work around with your leadership team. The third one, monitor. Step aside. Let them sit in there. I said, step aside. Let them do what you have taught them. Give them the opportunity to lead you now whilst you are still there. The fourth step is motivate. Motivate simply means you must become irrelevant. You must become irrelevant. At any point in life, you will become irrelevant. Listen, whether you become irrelevant naturally or you become irrelevant by circumstances, as a leader, you can become irrelevant naturally. You can become irrelevant by circumstances. The time that you are becoming irrelevant, have you raised so much people to carry on doing the same thing? Either in your company, in your organization, or wherever you are, have you raised enough people? So that's what we call motivation. The last one, I said multiply, meaning that the people that you have raised, the people that you have trained, must be willing to train others. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. I am done with the lesson for this morning. Remember, the African Institute of Leadership and Governance will be conducting these workshops, but we will be doing some evening discussions and all that with different speakers. We bring them on Facebook. We bring them as well on Facebook, but you can also participate. Then enroll, for those of you with a desire to be groomed and trained in leadership. The Institute is raising now. We are open now to the general public, so you are free to call us and you are free to contact my team, and they will be ready to respond to you, and we shall look forward to just have you on board. So by the end of our programs, we shall shake hands and say, congratulations, doing well. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And those of you in the afternoon, enjoy. Bye-bye.